Hey, what's going on? I just finished the second week number 2 of Maverick Transportation's orientation, which is flatbed securement training. Stay tuned because in this video we're going to talk about what week 2 is like, what you can expect, and some things that you need to bring with you. Hey, what's going on? So here we are, Maverick Transportation orientation into week 2, flatbed securement training. It's been a wild ride. Let's talk a little bit about it. So if you watched my last video, I talked about orientation week 1, and it was onboarding, and it was from day 1 of when I got to Maverick all the way up until I got my job offer, which happened last Wednesday. Flatbed securement training, which is the beginning of week 2, starts in the middle of that Wednesday. And we're going to go over a little bit about flatbed securement training. So flatbed securement training starts in the middle of a Wednesday. Alright, after you get your job offer, you're going to go upstairs to the classroom, and you're going to meet your flatbed securement training instructors. Now my main instructors were George, Jeff, Steven, and Lyle. They are just as good as the instructors in onboarding. They want you to succeed. They're there to help you, and they push you, and they make sure that you know what you're doing before you leave the end of week 2. When you go up to the classroom on Wednesday, you'll get your personal protective equipment. Maverick is going to give you a hard hat, gloves, they're going to give you a safety vest, they're going to give you a pair of safety glasses, and they're going to give you knee pads. You're going to need all of those all week. Don't forget them at the hotel. Okay, you can't do your training if you don't have those. Alright. What you need to bring, and you need to make sure you bring this with you before you even get here, you need a standard tape measure, a pack of ink pens, and a notepad just for your notes for flatbed securement training. You're going to be taking notes all week long, and you need those for the test, which we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes, and you need those notes throughout the week. What Maverick will also give you is a little Android tablet. I had to turn mine in today or I'd show it to you. What that Android tablet has is all of the notes that they cover throughout the week, including videos that show you step by step of how to secure this stuff. Now, what do we secure in flatbed training? Well, you can't secure everything that Maverick calls because that's impossible. So what they do is they take 10 or 12 of the most basic, probably what you'll haul the majority of the time from what I understand, and they will, all week long, they will teach you how to secure this stuff. And you'll take 1 or 2 pieces of this freight, and you'll work on it all day long, and then you don't touch it again until test day. So that's why it's vital that you study. Now, the stuff that we practice in the flatbed securement bay is things like, and if you're not a flatbedder, this is going to sound foreign, but it's good that you see this stuff prior to when you come. If you're a flatbedder, you already know what this stuff is. Shotgun, eye to the front, steel coils. Eye to the side, steel coils. Eye to the sky, steel coils. Aluminum, palletized freight, linear freight, alright? That kind of stuff we study, and we do hands-on securement all week long. Like I said, you'll go out, for example, like on Thursday, and you'll do maybe eye to the sky, or maybe shotgun, and eye to the side coils. You'll do those a couple times. That's it. You don't touch them again until training or until testing day. And so it's important that you know what you're doing. You don't leave there until you're confident, okay? we do this all week long. We go through all of these different pieces, and just to give you a little bit of an idea of what class is like, you'll leave the hotel around 5:30, 5:45. You get there at 6 every morning. There's no days off. It's 7 days a week. And you will eat breakfast from 6 to 6:30. And typically you'll be out in the bay by 7, and you will get an hour for lunch, usually around 11. Like I said in my last video, breakfast and lunch is paid for, or it's served to you by Maverick for free. It's part of your training. And you'll go back out to the bay around noon, so lunch 11 to noon, and you'll work until about 3:30 or 4. That is a typical day in week 2 of flatbed securement training. The days are a little shorter, but the need to study is a little bit more than in week 1. All right, and that's important that you do that. So, what do you need to study and why? You need to take your Android tablet to the hotel with you every night, and you need to study what you learned that day. You need to go back over your notes and watch the videos again. You've got to get this stuff in your mind. You've got to get it set. You've got to know what your number 1, number 2, number 3 hookups are. You got to know how to load your trailer and set it up from the center out. All of this stuff is going to be on your test. You want to get that stuff back into your mind, reiterate it, everything you learned that day, and then you want to study what you're going to do the next day. Before you get there, you need to know. You need to know so you're not lost. Let's take me for example. On the very first day of flatbed training, I slipped up and I didn't study what I was supposed to. Alright? Totally my fault. Nobody else's fault. I was overwhelmed a little bit. I was starting to get homesick, and I just let it go. I didn't even think about it. I got to flatbed securement training that morning, and I looked like a total ass. I didn't know what I was doing. I drowned the first day, which was really discouraging. So the second day, I was ready, because that night I went to the hotel and I studied my butt off. Alright? Now, I struggled with flatbed securement training a little bit. I've never done this stuff before. In fact, I've been a nurse for 13 years. More than half of that has been office administrative work. I'm not used to working with my hands and those kinds of things. And so I had to study a little bit more. I probably studied 2 hours or maybe a little bit more each night. Others in my class just studied for an hour or 2. It's going to be up to you, but you got to do what it takes to get it done. That's why you're here. You wanted to come and you wanted to succeed. Study. I can't emphasize that enough. Study. Take notes in class. Read the PDFs. Watch the videos, that type of stuff. Now, we also do tarping, but you're not tested on tarping, but they will go through tarping with you. You do hands-on tarping, you do some classroom work with tarping. You're going to want to know it. You're going to look like a fool if, we've been talking about tarping for a week, and at the end of the week you still don't really know what you're doing. It's going to be obvious that you didn't do a lot of studying. Okay. Now, let's talk about the test at the end of week 2. At the end of the week, on Wednesday, so flatbed securement training starts on a Wednesday, halfway through the day, and it ends on Wednesday. At the end of the week on Wednesday in the morning, you are tested on everything that they showed you in the base that week, and you have to pass this test. You have to score very high on this test. You get 2 chances to take this test the same day. Alright, if you fail it, you go back down to the base and you take it again. If you fail it a second time, I'm pretty sure you go home. Maybe they hold you over another week, that's possible, but and I guess if your attitude is great, maybe they will hold you for another week. But regardless, it can all be prevented from just studying, right? So if you study, even if you don't get kicked out and go home, you still don't want to stay for another week. You want to get in that truck with a trainer so you can start to get that training, so you can get in a solo truck so you can start making some money. You know what I mean? So study, right? Hopefully you all have heard me by now. So you go down, you take the test, it's in the morning. What the instructors do the night before is they have the students, us, set up 10 pieces of freight perfectly. So it passes all DOT standards, it passes all Maverick policies. A lot of times the Maverick policy secures the freight more than DOT standards. Set it up, the instructors inspect it and make sure everything's set up correctly. And then you go home, back to the hotel. And the instructors go back down to the bays after you leave, and they tear it up. And what they'll do is they'll take pieces of securement and they'll pull it off that freight, okay? And your job, the morning of the test, which is Wednesday morning, is to find all of the missing pieces of securement from the freight. Now let's talk a little bit about what the test is like when you get there. You get there Wednesday morning, you eat breakfast, you're briefed on the test and its rules and what it's like and what they expect out of you, and then the entire group goes down to the bay to do the test. You're broken up individually, all right, and all of you run through, or at all the stations. There's 10 stations, at least there was on my test. There's no talking, there's no cell phones. You cannot take your tablet with you, that Android tablet that has all of their notes on it. What you can take is any of your own personal notes. So if you copy the PDFs and you copy the books that they give you, and yes, that takes time, you're going to have their notes when you go down there. Also, at each station, each of the 10 stations, they have a layout of what the freight looks like. It is a diagram, and it shows you what's supposed to be on each one of those pieces, or each one of those items, those freight items, right? And what you'll do is you go through each station without any help, and you're timed on each station. You get 5 minutes to look over this station. You can go through your notes, you can go through the diagram they have set up, and there will be anywhere from 0 pieces of securement equipment up to 4 pieces of securement equipment missing on the freight, on each piece of freight, and your job is to identify each one. Now, 10 stations, anywhere from 0 to 4 pieces of securement missing from each of those stations. If you do the math, you could potentially have 40 pieces of missing securement equipment that you have to identify on your test. You just write it out, right? This freight is missing a chain. This piece of freight is under secure for weight. This piece of freight doesn't have a strap like it's supposed to, and on and on and on, all right? And then when you're done, you give them your test, and obviously they grade it. Now, you can miss 3 pieces. There's some gray area in there, and your instructors will do a lot better explaining it than I. If you actually miss 3 or more, you fail the test. I'm sorry. Now, you're probably thinking, that sucks. That's a lot. And it is a lot of pressure because you're timed, right? So you don't get to stand there all day and look at this freight. Let me give you a little bit of perspective about how it went for my class and how it will go for you if you're prepared. I had 23 people in my class that tested when I tested. Now, if you watched my video last week, I had 15 people in my class. We went down to 13. 2 people had to leave. Wasn't anything Maverick really did. And if you're wondering why, you can check out that video. I was combined with another class at the beginning of last week in Flatbed securement, so now I'm in a class of 23. 23 went down on Wednesday, took the test, 22 and then me, so 23 total. 23 passed the test. We all passed that day. 2 failed it the first time. They pulled them aside, they went over some things with them, and then they sent them back down to the bay, and those 2 ended up passing on their second try. 23 people took the test, 23 people passed it, all in the same day. So you can too, but you have to be prepared. 11 out of the 23 got 100% on the test. Didn't miss anything, okay? 6 or 7 more of those 23, including me, only missed half a point, all right? And the rest of us got, obviously, less than 3 wrong. A lot of people think that Maverick tries to weed people out. I just told you 23 took the test, 23 passed it. The instructors are there to help you be successful, all right? But they expect a lot out of you, and one of those things is studying. If you show up and you're not ready, they're not going to hold your hand. They can't. There's 4 or 5 instructors. There's 20 plus people in the class. And they're testing you. The entire orientation is a test. It is a job interview. They want to know that when they put you in that $100,000 truck and send you down the road weighing thousands and thousands of pounds with all of that freight on the back, that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. And if you put forth the effort during orientation and you study and you score well on your tests and you have a good attitude, then it gives them much more confidence that they're not going to put someone on the road who's not going to try and who's going to kill someone or themselves, right? Flatbed securement training, a lot of it is just about how to keep people alive if you really think about it. You have to strap this stuff down accordingly. So that's the end of week 2. Now, what happens after that? Well, today's Thursday. We had half a day of class. We got the information about our trainers, and now here I am. I'm sitting and I'm waiting to be connected with my trainer. Let's talk a little bit about what I learned about the trainers today. Maverick does their best to assign you a trainer that is as close, physically close, their house is as physically close as possible to yours. But it doesn't always work out. It didn't work out for me. All right. So I live in Ohio. I live close to Dayton, Ohio, and I got a trainer who lives in West Virginia. He's 187 miles away from me. I'm not going home during training. There's no way that I'm going to be able to go back and forth on the weekends to my house 187 miles away. I knew that coming into it. I'm okay with that. Does it suck? Yes. Is it Maverick's fault? Absolutely not. Some guys in my class, including a guy in Ohio, his trainer is less than an hour from him. So when his trainer goes home for the weekend, if his trainer goes home for the weekend, and that's a big key, his trainer does not have to go home for the weekend if they don't want to, and sometimes they don't make it home, all right? If his trainer goes home for the weekend, guess what? He gets to go home for the weekend. That's the way the cards were dealt. I can't complain about it. I knew about that going into it. For those of you who think that you're going to go home every weekend when you're training, don't get your hopes up. Don't hold your breath. It would be awesome, and I hope for you that it happens, but if it doesn't, be ready for it, all right? It is what it is. Now, you have to be on the truck a minimum of 3 weeks with that trainer. They encourage you to do more. I'm hoping for 5 to 6. I got to talk to my trainer through text a little bit this morning. He said, let's start at 5 and let's see where you're at. If you need less, that's great. If you need more, that's great. I'm sitting in the hotel now. What Maverick has to do is they have to figure out how to connect you with your trainer. My trainer's in North Carolina. He lives in West Virginia. We think he's getting a load to go home this weekend. We're not 100% sure till he gets it, which means that I'm sitting in the hotel on standby, and at any minute I could have to jump on a Greyhound bus or a rental car and go meet him somewhere. And that's just how it is. So that's where I'm at now. Now, one thing I want to talk about real quick, and I didn't get to talk about it on the last video, is recruiting. At Maverick, you get a recruiter, you talk to them. Robin Holcomb is my recruiter, and she was phenomenal. She did not do me wrong at all. She told me 100% of the truth on everything, even stuff that I didn't necessarily want to hear, like I'm not going to make it home every weekend during training. So I would advise you to connect with Robin. Robin Holcomb, I'll put her contact information right here, and call her and just talk to her. Just talk to her. You know, you don't have to make any commitments, all right? But one thing I wanted to talk about last week and I didn't get to was the Maverick recruiters during the first week of orientation, after like your third day, so you've been here for a while, they come with their manager to the classroom and they meet you face to face and they hang out with you for like 45 minutes. So if they told you something that wasn't true, you would confront them, right? That puts them in a very bad position. They don't lie to you. Now, is there some information that maybe gets changed here and there and they don't know about it until it's too late? Absolutely. Is it big stuff? Absolutely not. So, you know, I know these major mega carriers, they're recruiters, I hear the rumors, and I dealt with it some when I drove, 13 years ago. They just tell you anything to get you in the door. Some do. Maverick does not. All right, my recruiter didn't do me wrong at all. She told me everything that I needed to know, and it was all accurate when I got here. So, I just want to kind of ease your mind. If you're working with a Maverick recruiter, and I can vouch for Robin Holcomb myself, you're going to get the real deal, the real story. All right, so I hope you find this video helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I love answering comments from you guys. I included, if you want to talk to me, I included my cell phone number in my YouTube description. Feel free to text me, and then if we need to connect on a call, I can give you a call if you've got a lot of questions. But let's start, just give me a text, shoot me. I'm getting a lot of texts. I've probably gotten, 25 texts this weekend, or this past week, from different people. And I'm going to do a Q&A video here soon off of some of the questions that I've been getting about Maverick's orientation. But, feel free to text me. Follow me on Instagram. I'm doing a lot of, pictures on Maverick's facilities and things like that. You can find me on Instagram at 3G_lifer. 3G_lifer. I'd love for you to follow me. And stay tuned to YouTube. My YouTube channel coming up. We're going to do some videos about being in the trainer truck, and we're just going to go from there. Alright, if you got anything out of this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. If you think the video sucks, give me a thumbs down. I need that feedback, right? I want to provide valuable information to you guys. If you're a new driver and you're thinking about getting into driving, if you're an experienced driver and you're thinking about going to Maverick, or if you're a new driver and you want to go to Maverick, reach out, let's talk. I'll tell you everything I know, and I'll be upfront with you. I get nothing out of it, and I want nothing in return. Guys, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.